Welcome into the Pirate basketball overtime here on the Sports Objectives. Pirates get a win tonight, the opening game of the 2021-22 season, 70-62 over the South Carolina State Bulldogs. I'm Dave Richmond along with Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you?
Going on, Dave. Good to get a win tonight. Obviously, did not play as well as we should have on the defensive end, but it came nowhere near covering. But good to get the win and start off 1-0.
It is Bubba Rosenbaum. I know that obviously we'll be breaking down the game, but Pirates get the most important stat. I know the win, which you like to win, but we'll talk more about disappointing on the defensive side of the ball for sure, to put it mildly.
Definitely not going to argue with the 8-point season opening win. When I saw that line earlier today with the 21 points, I think is where it closed. There's no way if I was a betting man that I would have. I would have
Taking
touched
the
it, but
points.
yeah, I would not ever bet against the Pirates, but I would have jumped all over that if I was an unpartial observer. Just for a lot of reasons. So many new pieces for the Pirates, and then you had the familiarity factor with South Carolina State's coach being from
Right.
Memphis. Um, Season opening game, and so many reasons.
Injuries.
Honestly, I thought we would probably win by about 15, but I think our biggest lead tonight was 13, and then for the majority of the night it was in single digits, and just kind of sloppy play on both ends of the court. And I know we'll dive more into that here in the coming minutes.
No doubt about it. I thought obviously Bubba, and Kyle Barber said it best, and I think that it's the very fact that we got outplayed, out hustled. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, anybody will tell you, obviously it's obvious, but when you have a basketball game, the offense is probably not going to come later than the defense, and you can have an off shooting night, but there's no excuse to have an off night when it comes to defense. They out hustled us, they out rebounded us. I think I'll have to look at the stats again. Um,
Actually,
we
it didn't seem like it, but it ended up 50-50. But
really, wow,
yeah, at one point in the first half, to your point, South
yeah,
Carolina State held a commanding 17-7 edge on the glass, and then obviously from that point on, we were able to even things up, but it definitely did not seem like it. And something else that did not really seem this way, I could not believe it at the end of the game when I looked at the stat sheet and we only had 9 turnovers. And I think that part of that was because some of the ones that we did have were really, really bad, just lackadaisical, taking our eye off the
of
ball
course,
and just not,
yeah.
not looking the ball in, and passing and catching the way you should when it's uncontested. And then also some of the shots that we took, our shot selection, like Coach Dooley said time and again last year, a bad shot in his mind's a turnover, the way they chart things. And we had several of those tonight as well.
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking at on the stat sheet that Bubba, how long have we been talking about since doing the show? We started it in what 19. So I think this is our third season doing the overtime, and 3-point shooting tonight was abysmal. 6 of 27 for the game, 22.2%. Even I am not a stats guy, and you want that what, Bubba, around 40, 35 to 40% for three, somewhere in that neighborhood. It just very disappointing there. Another thing that really disappointed me is right underneath the 3-point for those watching and viewing is 6 of 27. We at one point, Bubba, we were 69%, but then we missed, I think, 11 straight free throws. That's just unacceptable. 59%. Anybody knows if you follow basketball 101, it should be at least 70% for the team. Um, if you think about it, at the charity stripe, that's literally that's 11 more points you could have had. Granted, I know they're not going to go 100%, but we only won by 8. You could have that. There you go, Bubba. We were talking about. I thought it was a 12 to 15 point game. Like you, I agree with you 100% that we win. I didn't think it would be the covering, uh, to cover, but there you go. If you make half your free throws, you win by double digits, right?
Yep, and you look at the stats there for our viewers. Um, Neither team shot the ball well at
Oh
all.
my God, no.
The Pirates just 24 out of 74, 32%, 6 out of 27, like you already mentioned, a dismal 22% from beyond the arc, and then 16 out of 27, 59% from the charity stripe. And then you had 12 assists for East Carolina to 7 for South Carolina State. Those 9 turnovers that I mentioned for ECU and 16 for the Bulldogs. But definitely a lot to clean up on some of the individual numbers. You had J.J. Miles. He really got hot in the first half, finished 4 out of 11, really cooled off after the 4 threes he knocked down in the first half. He did not
Yeah.
make one in the second, but he had 18 points, a team high, leading 4 Pirates in double figures. Tristan Newton, 5 out of 12 from the floor, 15 points. Vance Jackson in his first game as a Pirate had a double-double. Vance did not shoot the ball the way he would want. Um, I think he was, I'm trying to remember if he was 5 out of 16. It was something right around 30 to just over 30%. And so 12 points, 13 rebounds, double-double for newcomer Vance Jackson. And then, in my opinion, the player of the game,
Oh yeah.
Brandon Johnson out of
Game ball.
Wakefield High School. Believe it or not, there in the Raleigh area.
Rolls for it.
Yep. But he was a guy that he did play in junior college last year, even though he's a freshman. But that year in JUCO didn't count because of COVID. So that's a plus. And he was a late ad, and what a late ad
Yeah.
what he was. I really like what he brings to the table. A lot of energy, and he really turned the game tonight. There in the second half, they had whittled the lead down to 4.
4 points. Yeah.
With probably 12 to 15 minutes remaining, and then we put Brandon Johnson back in, and he got a couple of quick buckets, and then all of a sudden the lead went from 4 to 13. And as you see there, 11 points, 13 rebounds, double-double for him as well in his Pirate debut in just 23 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt. I think when you look at top to bottom there from Miles, Newton, and Jackson, none of those were to me. I didn't think those were surprises, but Brandon Johnson. I mean that's great to see that kid, and you've heard some things about him, and obviously when Cy Seymour, by the way, did a great job tonight with Patrick Johnson. Both of them are great friends of mine and ours of the show. Um, but you look at a kid like him, Cy Seymour always talks about when he's on our show about how many great kids are in the state of North Carolina that don't get recruited the way they should, right? And that, yeah, Duke and North Carolina, everybody says Duke and North Carolina, they get the big 5 stars, they get the 4 stars. Well, guess what? There's a lot of Brandon Johnsons out there that we can put on our team and have a winning product in the American. And he's a perfect example of a kid that was, I think, overlooked. And I'm glad that, as they talked about the broadcast tonight, Old Dominion wanted really bad, wanted Brandon Johnson. And he's a kid tonight that we can't really argue with his effort, right? But there's a lot of kids out there on that team that we've got to have playing better. And I know it's the first game, and we can get some to the comments in just a second. We're not being critical. We know it's the first game. We know there's a couple injuries, all that, but defense is just something that I'm a stickler about, and I just didn't see it tonight the way that it should be 40 minutes, and there was, to me, we have talent on this team. We definitely have the talent. We have shooters, and I know there was I think it was James Cutler was saying he wants to see Winston Tabbs. Winston Tabbs is going to be fantastic. And yeah, thank you, James, for chiming in. And I know Johnny's on here, but Johnny Robertson. But there's there's no doubt that this team is going to be good. And I know our friend B Pays, by the way, the guys the other night, when we talk about basketball, he thinks that we didn't put that comment on the screen, but he thinks that we're going to win 16 games this season. And it's all going to depend on, Bubba, we've got to be, we had a 7-1 start before the COVID hit us. And I'm hoping we can see a similar start. Every season's different, right?
Yeah, it really is. And going back to some of these comments, appreciate folks chiming in on Facebook as well as YouTube this evening, joining us here
Absolutely.
late on a Tuesday night. But um, going back to what Johnny Robertson said, yes, the defense was pretty rough at times, but it was also very good at times. There
Yeah.
early in the second half, when the offense was really struggling, the Pirates only had probably about 6 points in the first 8 minutes or so of the second half, but defense was pretty good during that stretch, and kept us where we needed to be. Um, Hopefully, we'll have Kyle rejoin us here in a moment as he drops out
He fell asleep.
with some technical difficulties. But yeah, going back to the defense, we really showed some good hands on the perimeter at times, and then at other times we got beat off the dribble. Cy Seymour on the
Yeah.
ESPN Plus telecast was really talking about that, how effective
It's a
South Carolina
weakness.
State was at getting to the rim, and then getting some putback opportunities with 14 offensive rebounds as well.
Yeah, it's not that I think that the whole game that the defense was bad, but I think if you know Joe Dooley, he he's going to be hitting the next practice, I guess tomorrow. He's going to be hitting them hard about that very thing that we've got to have the defense. It's got to be consistent. In other words, don't take plays off. Didn't you feel that way, Bubba? Especially maybe not necessarily the second half, but definitely the first half. It looked like they were taking plays off on defense.
I definitely think we took some plays off and were out hustled in both halves. No doubt
Yeah.
about it. And James Cutler agrees, chiming in on YouTube some more, saying
Yes. Thank
saying
you,
took
James.
the foot off the gas. Should have put them away when we're up by 13. And
Yeah.
definitely agree. And they got it all the way down to at least 4, if not 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, really was looking pretty sketchy there. And you know, you just like, hey, at this point, let's just find a way to get out of here and win the ball game, and
Yeah.
we'll fix these mistakes, get ready for Canisius, and that's what we're able to do.
Well, no doubt. I think it's kind of like when we get to tournament time, survive and advance. When you look at, like you talked about, Bubba, you look at there's injuries that are a factor. 2 players right now, with Felton and Tabs are injured. You look at those 2 players, what difference could they make? Then you look at it's the first game of the season. You look at the fact that one of the questions I had and guys that we could talk about is how well will this team gel? Now we do have 5 players back, so as they talked about tonight on the broadcast, you have 56% of your scoring back, but um, we have some good pieces that have come in, and I'm curious to see how well those. I guess what I'm looking for is chemistry. How well those guys play together. There's no question we have talent, but can they get it together? And hey, we won the first game, no doubt about it. But how do we build from that when we have Canisius and you have Western Carolina? Then next week with the Myrtle Beach Invitational, it's going to be huge when we take on Oklahoma and game number 4 of this new season. So that's what I'm trying to looking for is when you look at a South Carolina State, we're not complaining. They won the game, so that's number one. But Canisius, that's going to be a good team. I don't really know a lot about Western Carolina, but anyway, you got some games at home before you go on that neutral site with Myrtle Beach. But I'm really happy, by the way, Bubba, with that Myrtle Beach Invitational with all the great teams in it.
Yeah, the Myrtle Beach tournament next week will be really good. Starting on Thursday with Oklahoma, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Canisius, Friday night's opponent for the Pirates, 7 o'clock at Minges. the Golden Griffins. Love that nickname, combination of a eagle and a lion. But the Golden Griffins were down in Coral Gables tonight, believe it was, and taking on the U, and Miami was victorious 77-67. So competitive ball game, and Canisius was led by Green. He had 21 points and 8 rebounds in 35 minutes to lead uh, them in that 10-point loss to Miami out of the ACC.
Yeah, Canisius is gonna be a team that'll be very, I think, scrappy, feisty. Aren't they a senior-led team, Bubba? If my memory serves me right, I'll have to look at
I
them
believe
again.
I have not confirmed that, but Cy Seymour was saying that that is the
Yeah.
case, and so I'm sure that's probably accurate. And Malik Green, 6'7", 220-pound senior, 13 points, 7 rebounds a season ago, and he's the one that had the strong effort tonight.
Yeah, so hey, Friday night, folks, we have ECU. And like Bubba said, when you have the basketball team, I believe they looked back at the attendance again. It was 3,600 tonight, 3,605 to be exact. So tonight's official attendance. We need that place packed. And obviously, it's a school night for me, so I couldn't go, and I'm a dad. But Friday and Sunday, being the weekend, I'm definitely going to be at both of those games at Williams Arena. Let's get that place packed. Friday night in Greenville, you have Canisius. That'll be a great game. And then Sunday afternoon, Bubba, I know that if you were closer, you and your dad and mom and everybody would be there, right? I mean, that Sunday afternoon for sure, if you were closer, and that and probably Friday night too. But those games are going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just happy. Another thing I'm happy about is I'm happy we can have fans again, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. My parents may make it down for that Sunday game against Western Carolina, 4 o'clock tip off. So for out of towners like us, that is nice to have a 4 o'clock tip off
Yeah.
where you can play the ball game and still get home by 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So uh, folks in Western North Carolina or up in the Tidewater area certainly appreciates that. But yeah, may make it down on Friday. Um, kind of up in the air at this point, and just such a quick down and back. But I would love to be there, and we'll definitely be making it to Minges as well as down to the Spectrum Center when we play Liberty, and um, checking out the Pirates plenty in person this year. But going back to this game, some of the other defensive plays that stood out there in the first half when we were kind of making a little bit of a run. Um, how about Brandon Suggs? Big Brandon Suggs fan, and Brandon had that steal and a fast break dunk.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that we cannot afford to do, by the way, that I failed to mention, I just realized that looking over the stats is, were you nervous at all? I mean, I know it was early, but were you nervous when they go up 7-0 on us? I mean, that
No,
was,
just with it being so early. I mean, obviously, it wasn't the start we wanted, but it's going to be a game of runs, and I mean
yeah,
that's just the way basketball is. But I was a little more nervous when we were, leading
in the
only
second
by
half.
2 or 4 there in the
Yeah.
final 10 minutes. I was like, come on now, we got to take care of business, and can't
Yeah.
can't get the season off on the wrong foot with a loss like that. But and
Yeah.
to the Pirates' credit, with all the new pieces, and you had some of the veterans and as well as newcomers. Even though Vance didn't shoot the ball well tonight, he had a couple of key putbacks there. Offensive rebounds and layups to really hold South Carolina State off down the stretch. And then some of those key stops that we've already referenced, even though you didn't play well defensively, you did step up and get it done a few times when it was necessary.
Oh, no doubt. And like I said, the surprise, there were no surprises with J.J. Miles with 18, and you have Newton and Jackson. I think that they were, obviously, you would, like you said, Jackson. Maybe you like to see him score some more, but he did have a double double in his with his debut for the Pirates, and you have certainly with Newton and J.J. Miles have got to play very well this Pirate team. Well, obviously, I know with Tabs, but yeah, Brandon Suggs and those guys. I'm just really looking forward to the season. And it may sound like I'm negative. I'm not. I'm very excited about this Pirate team. And the good news, Bubba, is I really truly believe that they'll get better.
Yeah, and looking over the box score, besides those four players that we already mentioned in double figures with J.J. Miles, Tristan Newton, Vance Jackson, and Brandon Johnson, you had Alonzo Frink, the South Carolina transfer, in
I liked
11.
him.
Yeah, and he only played 11 minutes tonight, but I do like some of the things I saw out of him during that action. He can definitely contribute, and tonight he had 4 points and 2 rebounds in those 11 minutes. Um, Tremont Robinson White, he had 4 points, and he did have 9 assists in 33 minutes, and that's really when the offense started going in the first half. We started putting some things together when TRW came in the game off the bench. You had Javon Small, freshman out of AZ Campus, highly regarded. Coach Dooley, really was impressed by him. He and the staff during the preseason. He played 2 minutes and did not score. Luigi Dubois played 8 minutes and did not score. Luigi was 0 for 4 from the floor. He did pull down 4 rebounds.
Yeah,
And he it was kind of a matchup thing. South Carolina State going smaller.
that's that. That's what I was going to say. Is that Luigi being like a 7-footer, and I don't know what the tallest guy on for South Carolina State, but it's really difficult when you got a big like a rim protector like DeBow and you got those smaller guys out there.
Yep. And then for South Carolina State, um, you really saw some solid guard play. You had Madlock and the coach's son, freshman. He finished with 11 points, and you also had Jones. He had 15 points and 9 rebounds. And you saw them knock down some tough shots and some pretty deep threes. And then, one of the other things that we haven't even mentioned so far, and that is the Pirates were without a few key pieces tonight. Guys like you had Boston College transfer Winston Tabbs, who has so much promise. He was coming off an injury. It looked like he was going to be good to go, and then we find out that he has tonsillitis. So hopefully he'll be back very soon. You also playing without Alexis Reyes and then R.J. Felton.
Yeah, I'm curious by Tabs and about Felton. I think that we'll see how they play, and you know what? The great thing is the season's young, and like we talked about, and there's always, no matter how good you play or you don't play, there's always things you need to clean up, and I'm sure that they'll do that. And I think when you said that, if you said, Dave, without looking at a stat sheet, how many turnovers, like you said, I would have guessed, honest to God, 14 or 15 is what I was thinking. When you told me 9, that's actually pleasing because there were so many unforced, and I know Sal was talking about it too, but it was driving me nuts. Like passes, people just not paying attention and then dropping passes, and they go out of bounds and stuff like that. So I'm glad there was only 9. And I knew Dooley is very, very happy that we won the turnover battle and that we had less than 10. That's really, really good.
Yeah, the mistakes that we were making are typical first game mistakes, and also typical mistakes of a team that is playing together for the first time in an actual game. Um, it's very apparent, that the guys are still learning how to play with one another. Yes, we had those key pieces returning in TRW, and then also Tristan Newton, as well as Brandon Suggs, JJ Miles, etc. But besides those guys, you had 9 newcomers, some of which were unavailable tonight, and looking forward to seeing them in action really soon. But like Johnny Robertson's chiming in here, tough to
Yeah,
complain. Yes, there's a lot of frustrating moments in a 8-point season opening win, but at the end of the day, it is a win. And some folks around the country tonight, like the Virginia Cavaliers, the 25th ranked UVA Cavs, going down 66-58 at home to Navy. And Jaden Gardner did have a double-double, so congratulations to Jaden. He finished with 18 and 10, but and good thing they had that performance, as they were still on the short end, 66-58 against Navy. You had the Citadel. How about the Citadel picking up a win against the ACC opponent in Pittsburgh, and they went and defeated Pittsburgh 78-63.
wow.
You had Presbyterian that gave Clemson everything they wanted. Clemson did go on to win 64-53, and you had Houston that we mentioned earlier. Houston was taken to overtime by Hofstra, and let me see who Ohio State played tonight, because Johnny Robertson said that Ohio State was. Oh yeah, I'd seen that score. They played in-state foe out of the MAC,
Akron.
Akron,
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
and,
Akron.
and number 17, Ohio State 67, Akron 66.
Yeah, I mean that's just it's early in the year, and the teams that, like in Akron, are going to definitely will get it up for an in-state not a rival, but in-state game with Ohio State, no doubt. And last year, Bubba, you remember the Big Ten were so everybody was talking about the tournament. They didn't turn it on. They were good in the regular season.
Speaking of another score out of the Big Ten, Western Illinois 75, Nebraska 74.
Oh wow, yeah. uh, those are tough. Those are tough, man. So that Johnny, great points on. Oh, you always are great, and appreciate you viewing the show and listening to the show, and the very fact that we could have lost tonight to South Carolina State. So we'll take it. And like you pointed out, we've got some payback for Canisius, the Golden Griffins, and we've got them coming up Friday night at 7, and then Sunday afternoon, folks. Come on, we're gonna have a great time against Western Carolina, the Catamounts. And we've lost the last 2 to the Catamounts, as Johnny says, which I didn't realize. So it's time for some payback, as he says. And I'll give our good buddy Richard Allsbrook too. Yeah, Jaden Gardner with 18. And but hey, that's the way it goes. I know, Bubba, you want to talk about some scores around the American?
Yeah, I mentioned that score on number 15, Houston defeating Hofstra 83-75 in overtime. In addition to that, you had Cincinnati 65, Evansville 43, South Florida 75, Bethune-Cookman 54. Tulane, Corey Glore was able to call a victory in his first game with the Green Wave, as Tulane defeated Southeastern Louisiana 70-67. SMU was victorious over McNeese State 86-62, and Wichita State beat Jacksonville State. I believe Johnny Robertson, started to say Johnny Gardner there for a moment, but Johnny Robertson said that Wichita State won that game 60-57 on a 35-footer. And then you had number 12 Memphis taking down in-state foe Tennessee Tech, making that trek over from Cookeville, 89-65 Tigers.
Yeah, that's well, a lot of great action, and we're excited about our brand new season of the Pirate Basketball Overtime. And Bubba, I know we'll have obviously exciting action on Friday night, another Pirate Basketball Overtime. Friday night, we also have we'll see the Pirate Football playback on Saturday night or Sunday. And of course, Sunday night, we'll have Pirate Basketball Overtime. It's a lot going on, folks. There's overlap now, and we'll have the same thing with basketball with baseball overlapping with basketball, vice versa, whatever. But certainly a busy time of year. And if the Pirates can win on the gridiron, then we'll go deeper into that overlap, if you will. So that's going to be exciting. Hey, that's fine with me. If the Pirates are winning on every sport, we'll take it.
Yeah, no doubt. And looking at that tournament next week, down in Myrtle Beach and taking place at the Myrtle Beach Convention Center. So you have the Pirates taking on the Oklahoma Sooners on Thursday night, and that game will be on either ESPN2 or ESPNU. I was looking to see who the Sooners had tonight. The Sooners were victorious over Northwestern State out of Louisiana. Oklahoma 77, Northwestern State 59.
All right, so win for them, but I guess that was expected. No doubt about it. It's going to go ahead, Bubba.
And then Western Carolina, Sunday afternoon's opponent, they were victorious over Bowling Green tonight up in Cullowhee. Catamount 79, Bowling Green, Falcons 71 in overtime.
Oh, it's that time of year again.
And very kind of interesting fact, you had Mark Prosser moving on from Western Carolina to become the new coach at Winthrop during the off season. So then Justin Gray, former Wake Forest star, Justin Gray is now the head coach of Western Carolina. And his Catamounts will be in Winston-Salem taking on the Demon Deacons Friday night.
Yeah, so they have the game Friday night, then they'll travel east to Greenville, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I tell you, I really believe in this team, and you know how much, Bubba, you and I both love Joe Dooley, so that should be great. And Johnny Robertson has another thing about Noah Farrakhan.
Yes, Noah Farrakhan in Eastern Michigan. They fell tonight at Assembly Hall in Bloomington to the Hoosiers, Indiana 68, Eastern Michigan 62. But Noah Farrakhan did have a solid game in 33 minutes. He had 18 points, but and I say he had a solid game. He scored 18 points, but he shot just 5 out of 21 from the floor, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, and had those 21 points against IU.
There you go. And want to give a shout out to Robert Vernon. Robert, watching tonight, thank you so much for him chiming in. Same way to start the year, Pirates. So, yeah, we'll take it. Like I said, we'll take it. And Bubba, do you have anything before we go?
Now, like you said, just tune in on Thursday night. Thursday night, we'll catch up with Rini and Golia for our Pirate preview, taking a look at this weekend's Memphis game. Friday night, we'll have our Pirate basketball overtime, taking a look back at East Carolina and Canisius. And then, obviously, on Saturday, we'll have our Pirate football playback, reflecting on what is hopefully a victory at the Liberty Bowl over the Memphis Tigers and Pirates attaining bowl eligibility. And then on Sunday evening, sometime we'll have Pirate basketball overtime, as we will hopefully be able to talk about a victory over the Western Carolina Catamounts.
Sounds good. By the way, one more thing. Richard Allsberg said, great turnout tonight by our students. They were sending them upstairs, no space down low. So thank you, Richard. I know you were at the game, and our friend Diane Pons was there. I know there's different folks at the game tonight. Troy Dreyfus from Pirate Radio, I know he chimed in. A lot of our friends at the game. So, and of course, Patrick Johnson and Cy Seymour, Jeff Charles. And I didn't get a chance to I'm sorry I missed the debut of Michael Perry, former coach of the Pirates, assistant coach, and of course, interim coach after Lebo left the team there just a few years ago. So I hate I missed that. But anyway, and I know, Bubba, you have the women's score too.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Coach Kim McNeil and the women failed tonight out in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, against Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
It was the Blue Raiders 70 and East Carolina 49, and the difference in that game just looking at the women's basketball Twitter, which is at ECUWBB. It said triples were the difference as Middle Tennessee outscored East Carolina 42-9 on 3-pointers. So that means they had 14 threes to just 3 for ECU. And last year, that was something on the women's side. We just struggled very much like the men, for that matter, to put the ball in the basket, and played tremendous defense, but that defense wasn't able to be converted into offense, at least enough.
Yeah, and by the way, for those that don't know, Coach Kim McNeil is a friend of the show, and we're going to have her on hopefully next week. We couldn't work out, unfortunately, this week. Our schedules. It'll be nice, Bubba, if we had this was our full-time job, right? Because that we'd be able to do so much more. But we're obviously we have families, we have full-time jobs, and we do this too. So, and rate for those of, and I have a radio show, so stuff like that. So, lots of stuff going on. But we're gonna, as soon as we can, we'll have Coach on, and looking forward to talking to her. Great turnout, like we talked about a couple weeks ago at the women's basketball banquet, and well over 200 people at Harvey Hall that night a couple weeks ago. So looking forward to catching up with her. Always a delight, and looking forward to the ladies having a great season on the hardwood.
Yep, no doubt about it. And just remember, Friday night, 7 o'clock tip-off. Get out to Minges. Hopefully the students will turn out once again, and who knows, we'll see what the status is of some of those guys who were unavailable tonight. Hopefully we'll see the Pirate debuts for Winston Tabbs, Alexis Reyes, and then maybe RJ Felton.
It'll be great to see you. So Friday nights we have a game again at Williams Arena, Minges Coliseum, and 7 o'clock. And then, of course, Sunday afternoon, we have hosting Western Carolina. So if you're looking for something to do Friday night or Sunday afternoon for that matinee, then definitely go to see some Pirate basketball. All right. Appreciate everybody chiming in, viewing tonight. Thank you, Bubba, for all your hard work, my friend, behind the scenes. And I'll be back again, like Bubba said, on Thursday nights with our Pirate preview. Looking forward to that. Pirates, man, we got to get a win in Memphis at the Liberty Bowl one way or another. It's going to be great. All right, until next time, you've been watching and listening to the Pirate Basketball Overtime right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody, and go Pirates.